I thought my son was struggling financially. I thought he was trying his best. I thought I was helping him. I was wrong. For the past 2 years I had been giving Lucas money every month because he told me his business was slow and he was barely making ends meet. I believed him. He was my only child. Of course I helped. Then one ordinary Tuesday morning, everything fell apart. My name is Eleanor Brooks. I am 62 years old, and this is my true story. If this story resonates with you, please subscribe and turn on notifications. New true stories come out every single day. Leave a comment below. What I discovered that day didn't just break my heart. It showed me that the person I trusted most had been using me for years. For most of my life I believed I had a close and honest relationship with my son Lucas. After my husband Thomas died 6 months ago, Lucas started coming around more often. He told me his construction business was struggling because of the economy. He said suppliers weren't paying on time and he was falling behind on bills. I felt terrible for him. He was my only child, and I still remembered how hard it was when Thomas and I were young and trying to make ends meet. So I started helping. At first it was small amounts, $200 here, $300 there. Then it became more regular. Every month I would transfer money into his account. Sometimes he asked for $500, sometimes $1,000. He always thanked me with tears in his eyes and promised he would pay me back as soon as his business picked up. Lindsay, his wife, would sometimes call me too. She would tell me how stressed Lucas was and how much he appreciated my help. She said I was saving their family. I never questioned it. I was grieving my husband. The house felt empty. Helping Lucas gave me a sense of purpose. It made me feel like I was still needed. I even started dipping into the savings Thomas had left me. I told myself it was only temporary. Lucas would get back on his feet soon, and everything would be fine. But deep down something felt off. Lucas drove a new truck. He and Lindsay went on a vacation to Florida last summer. They bought new furniture for their living room. When I asked how they could afford it, Lucas said it was a good deal, and credit was cheap right now. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. Then one morning I received a letter from a bank I had never heard of. It was addressed to me. Inside was a statement for a loan I had supposedly taken out, a loan for $87,000. My name was on it. My signature was on it. And the payments had been late for months. That was the moment my world cracked open. I sat at the kitchen table for almost an hour, staring at the bank letter. $87,000. My name. My signature. My social security number. I felt like someone had punched me in the chest. At first, I tried to convince myself it was a mistake. Maybe identity theft. Maybe some computer error. But the more I read the document, the more details I recognized. The address was my address. The phone number was my phone number. Even the email they used was one I had created years ago. I picked up the phone and called the bank. The representative was polite but firm. The loan had been taken out 14 months ago. The payments had been made for the first few months and then stopped. I hung up and sat there in silence. Lucas. It had to be Lucas. He had access to all my documents. He knew where I kept my important papers. He had helped me set up online banking after Thomas died. He even knew the password to my computer. I felt sick. That evening when Lucas called, I answered as if nothing had happened. "Hey Mom, how are you? he asked, his voice warm and familiar. I forced myself to sound normal. I'm fine, honey. Just a little tired. We talked about the usual things. Then, as casually as I could, I asked about the old savings account. There was the tiniest pause. You don't need to worry about that, Mom. I can help you with it if you want. His voice was still gentle, but something in it made my skin crawl. That night I couldn't sleep. I got up at 3 a.m. and opened my laptop. I started checking every account I had. By morning I had found 3 more loans in my name, one for $42,000, one for $29,000, and a credit card with an $18,000 balance I had never used. All of them taken out in the last 2 years. All of them with Lucas's phone number listed as the secondary contact. I sat there in the dark kitchen with the screen glowing in front of me, and felt something inside me break. The son I had been helping every month, the son I had believed was struggling, had been using my name, my credit, and my trust to take out hundreds of thousands of dollars behind my back. I didn't call Lucas that morning. I drove straight to his house. My hands were shaking the entire way. When I pulled into the driveway, Lindsay's car was gone. I was glad. I wanted to speak to him alone. Lucas opened the door with a surprised smile. Mom? What are you doing here? Is everything okay? I stepped inside without saying a word and placed the stack of bank letters on the kitchen table. His smile disappeared the moment he saw the papers. What is this? He asked, but his voice had already changed, smaller, careful. You tell me, I said quietly. He picked up the top letter. His eyes moved across the page. I watched the color drain from his face. Mom. I can explain. Explain? My voice cracked. You took out almost $200,000 in my name. You used my credit. You forged my signature. You lied to me every single month while I was giving you money, because I thought you were struggling. He sank into a chair and put his head in his hands. It wasn't supposed to go this far, he whispered. The business was really struggling at first. I took one small loan just to keep things going. Then another. Then the interest started piling up and I panicked. I thought if I could just get through a few more months, I could pay it all back, and you would never know. I stared at him, my only child, the boy I had raised alone after Thomas died. How long? I asked. He didn't look at me. Almost 3 years. 3 years. While I was grieving my husband. While I was giving him money from my savings. While I was believing every story he told me. I was going to tell you, he said, his voice breaking. I swear I was. I just needed one big job to come through, and then I could fix everything. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You used my name to take out loans I never knew existed. You let me believe you were barely surviving while you were living beyond your means. You looked me in the eye every month and thanked me for helping you. Lucas started crying. I'm so sorry, Mom. I was scared. I didn't want you to think I was a failure. I looked at my son and felt something inside me finally break. You didn't just steal money from me, I said slowly. You stole my trust. You stole the last bit of security I had after losing your father. You made me feel like I was still needed, when all you really needed was my credit score. He reached for my hand. I pulled it away. I want the full list, I said. Every loan. Every amount. Every payment you missed. I want to know exactly how deep this hole is. Lucas nodded, tears running down his face. And then I continued, my voice steady for the first time that morning. We are going to figure out how you are going to fix this. Because I am not going to lose my house or my retirement, because you were too ashamed to tell me the truth. For the first time in his adult life, my son looked small. And for the first time in a very long time, I felt like I was finally in control of my own life again. The weeks that followed were some of the hardest I had ever lived through. I hired a lawyer who specialized in financial fraud within families. She was honest with me, because I had willingly given Lucas money in the past. It would be difficult to prove fraud in court. The best path was negotiation and damage control. I made Lucas sign a legal agreement. He had to sell his new truck, cash out part of his retirement account, and put every penny toward the debt. I took over all the accounts myself. I changed every password, canceled every card he had access to, and froze my credit report. Lindsay was furious when she found out. For days she blamed me for not trusting her husband. Eventually she stopped coming to the house. The hardest part was watching my son realize the full consequences of what he had done. He cried more than once in front of me, real tears. For the first time in years, I saw him take responsibility. I didn't forgive him immediately. I told him forgiveness would have to be earned, not asked for. Slowly, painfully, we began cleaning up the mess he had created. I used a large portion of the savings Thomas had left me to pay down the most urgent loans. It hurt deeply, but I refused to lose my house or my future because of my son's lies. I also started seeing a financial advisor. I restructured my accounts and created clear boundaries with Lucas. He still comes to visit, but now he knows the rules. No more money requests, no more vague stories about business problems. For the first time in decades, I feel like I am in control of my own life again. I am still 62 years old. I still live in the same house. I still drink my tea on the porch swing every morning. But I am no longer the same woman who once handed money to her son without asking questions. That discovery forced me to grow in ways I never expected. I learned that being a loving mother doesn't mean destroying my own future. It means protecting myself so I can still be here when my family truly needs me. I stopped confusing love with financial rescue. I stopped ignoring red flags because he's my son. I now have clear boundaries. Lucas knows he can visit anytime, but he can no longer ask me for money. He can no longer use my name or my credit. Those days are over. I started seeing a financial advisor. I restructured my accounts and rebuilt the savings I had lost. I even joined a support group for parents who have been financially abused by their adult children. Hearing other women's stories helped me realize I was not alone. The pain of betrayal is still there, but it no longer controls me. It has become a reminder that my trust is valuable, and it must be earned, even by my own child. For the first time in many years, I feel strong. I feel in control. I feel like I am finally living for myself and not just for everyone else. Life did not return to what it was before I found those loan documents. It became quieter, but also stronger and more honest. I learned one of the hardest lessons of my life. Sometimes the person you love most can hurt you the deepest. For years I believed that being a good mother meant giving until it hurt. I believed love required sacrifice, even when that sacrifice put my own security at risk. I was wrong. Love should never cost you your peace, your home, or your future. Family does not give anyone the right to use you. I still love my son. But love now comes with boundaries. I will help him when he truly needs it, not when he wants it. I will support him when he is honest, not when he is hiding the truth. I am no longer just Lucas's mother. I am Eleanor, a woman who finally learned that protecting herself is not selfish. It is necessary. Some lessons come too late. But even late lessons can save the rest of your life. This was my true story. If you're watching right now and you've ever been betrayed by your own child, if you've ever given money out of love only to discover it was being used against you, if you've ever had to choose between helping your family and protecting yourself, you are not alone. Leave a comment below and tell me, have you ever had to set hard boundaries with someone you love because they were taking advantage of your kindness? If this story moved you, please subscribe and turn on notifications. New true stories come out every single day. Thank you for listening to my truth. I'm Eleanor, and this is her true story.